watching this first episode, but thanks for watching. This is the episode of DSO Compass off script. I was just talking to Clayton just before this. It was probably really good content. We wish we were recording it. The idea behind this podcast is to really, understand the folks behind the industry, the faces that we see at conferences. You probably recognize Clayton Russell from his handsome mugshot on LinkedIn, but also the conference.
Being around,
circle.
Out and about.
That's right. And hopeful that this conversation and others down the road gives everybody a little bit of a peek behind the curtain at who they are and what they're all about, besides just talking about RCM and AI and all that good stuff and EBITDA. But Clayton Russell, if you don't know, he's been around the industry for a while. How many years now, man? It's been a minute.
Oh man, I almost hesitate to say it. I say it a lot, but it's coming up on like 22. It's definitely been over 21. Every step of my journey has been in the dental world.
That's crazy. Yeah, well, I'm right there up with you. 2008. We're getting up there, and you've been in a lot of different. You had a lot of different hats, which I think is really fascinating about you, right? You've been on the vendor side of things with some of these major companies, right? And you're also on the DSO side of things, and you popped in my brain as somebody that I'd wanted to have on here for a lot of different reasons, right? I think we're close, we're tight, but also the methodology and how you think about things, operationally, partnerships, alignment. You're not about the transactional behavior. You're really about a partnership and making things work within the space. You're a super sharp guy, man.
You're too kind.
Yeah, I think most of all, dude, you have a real grounded approach that I've seen, and you're always looking to learn, grow, and support and help others. So I appreciate you being on, man. So thanks so much.
Yeah, I mean, I really do appreciate that. I try to approach this with taking into account all of my background, sales, business development, and kind of where we are now in this operational strategy mentality here within a DSO. It's an uncommon path in dental. So I try to never lose sight of just the abilities that I've been granted to make a difference in this industry. We talk about this industry and it being a community and us all being in this together. And we see that, from time to time, people exhibit those values, but we're trying. I think we're trying to lead this thing forward here. So I appreciate it, man. I think the same of you, man. A person trying to really be here and make a difference and help guide the industry forward.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Part of the reason, well, really the only reason I called this thing like off script is the idea is to really understand like who you are, kind of what makes you tick. I'm an origin story movie guy. The Christian Bale Batman, to see him like keep getting beat down and become who he is. Movies like that, I'm curious like how those things happen for you, but just in general, like where'd you grow up? Family, brothers, sisters, like what's your background? Where are you from originally?
Yeah. I mean, we just came back 2 years ago. We came back to where I grew up here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I tried to represent there with Quail Hollow. We just hosted the PGA Championship down here. But no, grew up in North Carolina, love North Carolina, huge homer for the state in general. But initially, the dental world that we talked about took me up to the Washington, D.C. area. So grew up here, fond memories here, family here. I have a family of 5, 2 sisters. My parents are still here. That was a big reason of us coming back, making sure that our young kids were raised in the same area.
That's awesome.
But got taken up to that D.C. area for about 18 years. And that really is where I kind of shaped me in this dental world across several different companies. And we can dig further into that too if you want.
D.C. area shaped you? Or
yeah, for sure.
Yeah?
For sure, yeah. Huge melting pot. Charlotte's become that. It maybe didn't look the same when I grew up here. And for some people, for better or for worse, I think for better. I mean, the area shifting and changing and becoming just a cultural melting pot. And I just saw more of that in D.C., not just with the the clinicians that I worked with and the team members in the offices. It just gave me a perspective that I just felt grateful every second I was there to be able to see it and to see everyone kind of striving to do big things there. It was an environment that maybe I hadn't been as exposed to as much here in the Charlotte area. A little more laid back in the South. You know, that old stereotype.
Yeah, a lot of people know me as the Buffalo guy, but I grew up most of my life in Maryland. So every single time somebody from Buffalo came to Maryland, guess where we went? DC.
Exactly.
We had I don't know how many times we went to DC, so I can totally understand that. But still thinking like previous, like the question that I think is so hokey to ask, but my guess is the answer is not like be in dental or be a VP at a dental organization. Like what did you want to be when you grew up?
That's not every kid's dream.
Yeah,
That's not
I don't think so. Maybe there might
VP
be.
of operational strategy. I love where I'm at, but no, it was my focus was so sports focused as so many kids, right?
Mhm.
Was fortunate enough to be probably the seventh or eighth best player on my high school basketball team. Was also a starter just because of what the need was, but was able to win a state championship there. And really, my sport was football and quarterback. And the dreams were to be Brett Favre one day,
Nice.
Troy Aikman one day. Went to college and played football there for a short stint before I realized my academics were going to continue to suffer if I went down that road, and maybe the NFL wasn't in my future. So kind of made a switch to almost like a physical therapy type of background there. I knew I wanted to be more involved in kind of a science type of background. Physical therapy wasn't it. I've found a place and found a home in dental with kind of the first role that took me up to DC, and just loved it. Loved the community, loved the people. But yeah, no, it wasn't exactly how I drew it up. I didn't have a whole lot of ambitions outside of, I did well academically throughout my entire life, but really my focus was sports and the pathway that I could take it from there.
Do you remember the show Married with Children?
Oh yeah,
Do you
Al
have
Bundy.
Yeah, do you have any Al Bundy memories from your athletic youth?
I mean, moving back to where I'm from, I certainly hear about my. It's nice, right? Because sometimes my wife's in the room, so she gets to hear of the.
Reinforce why she married you, huh?
Yeah, yeah. When I run into old comrades from high school that were in those trenches with me in basketball and football, sometimes they talk about the skill set that I used to have when I was a younger man. But yeah, I think it's easy. I try to always move it forward, and
Yeah.
you drug it out of me. I'm proud of those accomplishments that I had on the playing field, and obviously, we could get into all the cliches of how it
Uh,
shapes you into the person you are.
we
But
we could have a whole episode, whole conversation just about how sports molds people,
oh,
right?
without a doubt.
Like I have such fond memories just of the interaction. I love football. A lot of the reasons behind it is just the camaraderie and the brotherhood inside the locker room that you still remember to this day. I've got a pretty funny Al Bundy story, man. I'll tell you about it real quick. So I played basketball myself. I was decent, probably not as good as you. It doesn't sound like. Anyway, long story short, I was playing against Thomas Johnson, which you may or may not have heard of, being in that part of the world. They were one of the top teams in Maryland.
Hmm.
Gary Williams at the time, which is dating me, was the coach of the University of Maryland.
I remember.
Yeah, so he was at the game scouting, not me, trust me. Uh, Terrence Morris was his kid's name. He ended up going to the University of Maryland. The five was sick, so I had to play five. I was more of a 2 or 3 at 6'2". Anyway, I started the game with a left-handed hook from just inside the foul line, and then we got the ball back on offense. It was 2-0, and then I shot a 3. We got up 5-0. I had the first 5 points of the game. I looked up at Gary Williams thinking, oh, here's my big break. Guess how many points I had that game?
I'm gonna go with 5.
Yeah, I had 5. that was not
It
a,
happens.
yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
we had similar roles on our teams. 8.8 rebound guy, do the dirty work, set the screens. That was I
Absolutely.
got to shine in football as the quarterback. I didn't get that luxury in basketball.
What about fast forwarding to today? Outside of work, what I'll keep it open ended. Like
Yeah,
what's life look like now for you?
it's hectic. It's a hectic life. Not for the faint of heart. We have some young children. My son's 5, my daughter's 4. Both of them have birthdays coming up in the next couple of months. But you couple that with the lives that we lead, especially inside a DSO. It keeps you busy. There's a lot to there's a lot of great pieces in place, but there's a lot to take care of, and I feel like it's the same on the personal side. My wife personally is a high achiever as well. Give her a little plug. She does. She's doing some big things in the food and beverage space, and we have busy lives. We
Yeah,
we we love the move here to North Carolina, where we are, being close to family, but outside of work, that's our daily routine. I like to put the phone down and put the computer down, and my most fun times are just being dad with those little rugrats that we have, and just hanging with them and kind of trying to stay as present as possible with as we're pulled in so many directions
yeah. Do,
outside of that.
do you shut it down? Do you say,
I
okay,
shut it down.
at
I
eight
shut it
o'clock,
down.
I'm not
Yeah,
doing this, I'm not doing that? Like, do you guys have kind of a inner house conversation or a rule behind that?
I would love to say I absolutely shut it down, zero tolerance. Certain people call you probably a little more inclined to take the call, but as much as possible, yeah, try to shut it down. If it's still dinging, you turn it on vibrate. The text coming in can wait. The emails coming in can certainly wait. Direct phone call. We don't get too many of those anymore, right? But I'm always going to check it. But I really like to just put it up. I don't even want to be
Yeah,
holding it up in front of me. I try my best. I really try to be cognizant of it.
yeah. I'm a 9 o'clock guy. I don't know if you know Rondi. She's over at Eastspire.
Yeah,
She was texting me at like 8:50 one night, and it was about 8 minutes long. I was like, I got to go in 2 minutes. And
that's it.
yeah, it's sometimes I fail, but I feel like if you don't, plus that screen time, if you have a bunch of screen time before you go to bed, like it's not a good thing anyway.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, I think it disrupts everything. We know so much about them now. I think 15 years ago, maybe we didn't know a lot of the effects these phones were having on us, but
yeah.
cat's out of the bag.
One thing I'm curious about, once you do shut it down, you close the eyes, you wake up in the morning. I, from what I'm getting a sense, your life is hectic with the kids and everything, but I'm curious, always curious of people's morning routines. Like maybe a typical day, like if you really were to dial it in, like what does that routine look like? Because I feel like a lot of super uber A type, A player personalities have that routine dialed in to where it gets them ready and mentally sharp for the day to create like the most positive outcome possible professionally, personally. Do you have, a morning routine that you stick with?
Yeah, I do. This has been not a recent development by any means, but I think as I started to, not just kind of pay lip service to what I wanted to be in my career and just kind of say, I want to be a person who's in a leadership position, but actually put action behind it 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago now, and actually started to really focus on what that looks like and what that morning. I think it starts there. I try to get to bed with a 10 in front of the number. That's kind of my goal. Not let that push up to 11 midnight, and just not get the sleep that I need. I don't find myself needing a ton of sleep. I'm not sure if that was fatherhood that did that to me when you get no sleep, but
Probably.
so I try to get to bed with a 10 in front of the number. I like to wake up with a 5 in front of the number. Get our dog out. I really same thing. I put that phone down on the morning walk. I think it's easy to start checking and see what's going on for the day. So just try to put that down. Really think about the day before. Got kind of some little routines, some little mantras, as goofy as that sounds, that I'll repeat to myself, and Try to think through what success looks like for that week, and extrapolate that out a little more long term. And while I don't want to give away everything that I do, it feels so personal, but I try to express gratitude for
Sure, man.
the day before, and what just think through some of the littler moments, and really try to replay those in my mind. And a lot of times, sometimes that comes back to work, and a lot of times that comes back to the family as well.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for sharing, dude. I know some of that's personal. I'm curious this question too because I've had situations to where I know setting myself up for success right away in the morning has helped my emotional intelligence later in the day to really be able to handle a high pressure situation. Like, do you find that there's been situations, you don't have to get specific, that you look back on and be like, man, if I didn't express that gratitude in the morning, if I didn't go through the steps that I needed to get ready, like the outcome of this conversation would have been a lot different if I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, it just keeps you grounded, keeps things in perspective too, right? You kick the day off reminding yourself what's really important. And when you face those same challenges, and you start to be faced with things you have to overcome, or sometimes it's things you're not that well versed in, or sometimes it's a situation that comes up that just is a really difficult a true human interaction situation that can be really hard to deal with. I think all of it helps, keeping you grounded, keeping you level headed, keeping you open minded about new pathways that maybe you hadn't considered before. So, like you said, it sounds cliche, it sounds corny, but it's the truth. Right? When I really started kind of dedicating myself to a little bit more structure in the morning, yeah, I think it pays dividends in a lot of ways.
Yep, I'm with it. Let's shift to some dental stuff. You talked a little bit about moving to DC. Was there like a specific path? I know myself, I actually was door to door in like a full suit in Florida, like selling phone service and then advertising. Yeah, that really rooted me in like hard work and work ethic. And then I transitioned into dental. Like, is there a path that got you? Is it just like a recruiter called, or like what specifically brought you into the dental space?
Once I didn't go to PT, my whole major in college, minor in biology, psychology, it was all geared to PT school or PA school as well. A lot of people went that path. And once I didn't go that route, I didn't fully know what I wanted to do. I was actually in Greensboro, North Carolina. Thought sales was the direction I wanted to go, but I was a kid. I didn't really know. Met and stayed in contact with a guy that I met there in Greensboro as I was kind of in a personal training world, which is something I did to get myself through college as well. During that time, I kind of stayed in that world, but also had a sales aspect to it there, and met a guy who ended up becoming my first regional manager. Said, hey, I think you could interview. I think you could do well with us. Flew out to Sheboygan, Wisconsin, home of American Orthodontics. Still there today. Actually have a beautiful new facility there. Still, manufacturing orthodontic equipment, and doing very well with it, and really knowing their role up there. But they offered me a role. They said you can go to San Jose or you can go to the DC area. And although we were from North Carolina, my parents are from that area, and I still had a lot of family up there, and it gave me an opportunity to be around grandparents that I was generally 7-8 hours away from, and just took it and took that kind of leap of faith. And that was what initially got me into dental. And same thing, I mean, knocking on doors. I mean, this was a territory manager role of a territory that had underperformed, and good news was there was nowhere to go but up. But it took a lot of work.
Yeah. How naive were you back then?
I mean, if you got thrown into that and weren't naive, I mean, you just think you can come out and change the world, and you think your personality's enough, and you think you're going to go in there and flash that smile, and everybody's going to say, why not? I'll buy something from this guy, and it's sales, so I'm not going to say that's not a factor in it. But it takes so much more than that, and there's so much strategy behind it and planning, and that's where you lean on the ones who came before you. in those roles, and it's just it's a lot of trial by fire, but yeah, pretty naive when I came in.
Those are some of the best traits, I feel like, those individuals that just have no idea what's going on and just don't lack confidence whatsoever. And
Yeah,
just they'll just go out there and make it happen. Like those people um, are some of I'm envious of them kind of not knowing what's going on, you know? Like
it's
I'm,
good to be young. It's
yeah,
good to be young and oblivious, and the world hasn't beaten you down yet.
yeah. I'm curious based upon that. You mentioned one of your first managers. It might be him, it might be somebody else. Is there anybody you look back on that really like steered you in the right direction? I'll tell you what mine was in when I was a pharmaceutical rep, Karen Joyce. Like she was like the best manager in the world. She kept me on track. Like I would do a ride along with her and I'd pick her up and there wouldn't be gas in the car and she'd look at me and be like, the next time there better be gas in the car. You don't have your manager come with you without gas
She's
in the
got a
car. Like,
point.
get your stuff
She's got
together.
a pretty good point.
Yeah, it's just these little things of being young and thinking you can just get away with it, right? Is there anybody early on that was a real good mentor to you that you think about maybe give some props to?
I mean, I've had some great ones through the years. I mean, Dean Exis at 3M, Eddie Henneberry at Align. But yeah, going back, that the initial, I think I could never. His name's John McDade. He's still there at American Orthodontics. Salesman. Just he's the guy. They talk about like artists, the artist that your favorite artist likes. Being that real true artist. This guy's he's a maestro when it comes to sales and leadership, and I just always really appreciated him seeing something in me where maybe I didn't have the most direction on where I wanted to go, and getting me into an industry where they say once you get in, you're not going anywhere. It's like the mafia, and he got me in. He gave me my start, and he helped guide me along the way on those early years, those kind of formative years in this business. And yeah, he'd be the guy that I think really owe a debt of gratitude. And thankfully, I've reached out to him and told him that since.
That's great. Love to hear it. Specifically, let's maybe transition into DSO Compass. I've chatted with you about it.
Mm-hmm.
The idea behind it is really to work with DSOs on evaluating technology and also clarify to vendors like how to talk to people like you and present solutions. That thought connectivity between the vendor, the DSO, their doctors and teams, and all of that working. Maybe I'll just keep this open ended. Just general thoughts on that journey. Anything you're seeing right now, maybe even advice to a vendor that is going to see a dicoma and is going to approach you. Like, what's the best way to work with you, or just in general, just that thought connectivity that's happening right now? Do you have any open-ended thoughts on that
That's
direction?
I got a lot of thoughts, as I do with almost any question anybody ever asks me. But it's interesting, right? I mean, we're at an interesting time right now. There's people like yourself, even, that I really admire, that have really went out and tried to start connecting those dots. But then there's other people like the Eileen Days, the Sarah Rubergs of the world that we know that are really putting a lot behind trying to make these connections within the industry. And I'm not sure that we've had that in the past. It's always been, like you mentioned earlier, much more transactional relationship happening here. How do we bridge those gaps? Because that's the best thing for everybody. And as long as we have people continuously trying to uncover that, I think we're going to be in a good place. It can be chaotic behind the scenes at any organization, right? I've seen some of the biggest Align Technologies and 3Ms of the world, Fortune 50 and NASDAQ traded companies there, where there can be chaos at times. And especially in this DSO world, where systems and processes can be even harder to come by. That's why I'm very thankful for where I am now, the leadership that's in the foundation that was put in place here. But I think from the vendor perspective, if you could provide any insight, really dig in and try to understand who you're attempting to work with or who you are already working with. Don't give up. Don't slack off once that agreement is in place or the pilot is in place. That's probably more the time to lean in and be the best partner you can be. It's okay to make some demands from the other side as well. Yeah, I don't think a vendor always has to feel like they're in this position of weakness. The group needs them. They want the growth as well. So if those goals are mutually stated, hold each other accountable. Hold people's feet to the fire. Don't be too shy where you pull back and nobody hears from you for a couple weeks. That's not really doing anybody any good. So making sure you stay on the forefront as far as like a dicoma and being there in kind of the sea of humanity that we see at that meeting and people everywhere. Try to schedule ahead. I think, look, we can read your post and we can read Sarah's post, and you can attend, a DVIN meeting talking about strategy behind these things. But sometimes that all falls by the wayside when you get in the chaotic nature that is that meeting. But just walking up, introducing yourself, if that's where you have to start with that relationship, and trying to build from there, trying to build on value, not just that transactional relationship that can go both ways. That's not always just from the DSO, and it doesn't always have to just be from the vendor side either.
Yeah, I think that was probably nice for a lot of folks to hear is you talking about, hey, we need you just as much as you need us, right? Especially if you're providing like true solutions oriented products, right? What
Absolutely.
what are some misconceptions now that because you've been on both sides, you're a VP at a DSO, you've been on the vendor side, maybe some misconceptions about the DSO world that I wouldn't know because I've never received a paycheck from a DSO. There's a lot of us that work with them and try to understand and offer solutions. But what are some misconceptions do you think that exist that you can share?
I wouldn't take anything personally if you feel like you're being held at arm's length, if you feel like you're being put off. It could very well be that solution is not the best solution for that DSO at that time, and hopefully everybody's being transparent enough to let each other know that. But it could also very well be there's just other priorities at play, and you have to prioritize what's most important for the clinicians, the teams at the office level, the regional managers, the regional managers, the division presidents. I mean, there's so many different facets of this business at play that the more well versed you can become about the true mechanism that's turning within a DSO, the better your solution can be positioned to have an impact or help solve a real problem, right? Not just try to make a sale. So, the misconceptions are probably maybe some are a little more of a well-oiled machine than they appear. Maybe the misconception is they're less of a, maybe you've seen some of the inside and you see some of the pieces behind the scenes that kind of pull back some layers to show where people really need some help there as well. But it's a tough business. It's a really tough business, and on both sides, but especially within the DSOs, I think it's tough to get it right. It's tough to put the pieces in place, and not everybody's very cautious to put a solution in place that they're then going to have to pull back 6 months later. It's a trust business. On the management side, we have to have the trust of our team members in our offices that we're doing the right thing for them day in and day out. And it can be difficult to gain that. And the people are very guarded about that, as they should. We really are tasked with guarding that with everything we have to make sure that trust stays there.
Yeah, I mean, you talked earlier about your life being hectic, right? I think a lot of vendors, especially founders that I work with, like they're in their world in this product that they're trying to build, and that is the most important thing to them. I think you got to realize when folks are talking to you, like you got stuff to worry about, right? Like you're living a life. It's not your priority to do a pilot, and that clarity and understanding, I think, probably goes a long way in having a conversation with you, understanding that they have a life too. Your product is not the end all be all, and it's not gonna, solve everything in their life.
And it's hard to gain their attention. It's like, that people that are all over the place, it's hard to get them focused in and stay, just show them how that solution could make their lives easier. It's what we're all looking for, right? Especially in today's world. There's so many pieces coming down the pipe with technology and AI that have so much promise.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a nice transition. I think the buzzword for the past few years, acronym, has been RCM. Like, I think RCM, just in general, what it encompasses is the most important part of making sure that you're profitable. It is just money, right? Getting that money and making sure that that wheel works. But you mentioned the two-letter acronym that I think everybody's talking about. And again, we could have an entire discussion about this alone, but just your general take on AI, like now and maybe in the future, would be interesting to hear.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I feel like the RCM people have always had so much focus on RCM, and then all of a sudden their world just got under the spotlight of it just came into the general lexicon, right? The LinkedIn lexicon, maybe, where it just is, it's there and it's in our face, and everybody's become so aware of it. And I think it's a good thing overall. I'm not sure how the people who've always been focused on it and sometimes maybe behind the scenes focused on it feel about that, but with the AI piece, I mean, look, I'm going in early to Dykema specifically to focus on some aspects of that, and how do we position that, especially from a leadership role. I mean, we have to be kind of stewards of this technology in a way. You mentioned it. There's so many great founders out there with their eye on how we can make our business better. But again, as part of a leadership within a DSO, we have to realize how each piece and each platform and each solution that we bring can have ramifications on the entirety of our business. So that, that's what we're really trying to pay attention to every day. That, we don't want to solve for a solution over here that creates three more problems on the other side of our business, in IT and implementation and in finance. We're really trying to take into account, and something that we're especially doing here cross departmentally, trying to really analyze these solutions to make sure that we don't put something into, layer onto our business that causes headaches across other sectors that we just didn't consider. So there's a lot of great work being done. There's a lot of great technology out there, obviously. There's some really amazing looking solutions on their surface. There's some really amazing solutions as you dig deep, and we have some of those implemented. And we're going to continue to just analyze those. We know it's here, right? This isn't something that's coming. This is something that's very much here, and we all want to stay on the forefront of that. And it's just how do we go about implementing and integrating in a thoughtful way that has the best impact and obviously the best ROI on the business.
Yeah. Do you worry about the ability for it to scale?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly something we take into account, putting in repeatable and scalable pieces to the business. And everyone wants growth, right? Being in growth mode. These founders that you're talking to, the DSOs, I mean, it's why kind of that post-COVID time was so great. Interest rates are low. Everybody's sort of in acquisition and growth mode and feeling good about themselves. Everybody loves being in growth mode, but how do we do that responsibly? I mean, we're trying to take that into account every day of everything that we do.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. That's good stuff. I think there's
No.
I honestly, I probably could have done an entire 35 minutes on just AI with you.
Yeah, you live it, right?
I think the ability for really having a good strategy in place, number one, and then educating executive teams, and then taking that education and looking at systems and processes, and then, like, I feel like we're at a place where we're gonna start seeing agents be built, right? Like, there's gonna be
Without a
agents
doubt.
that built to help do things that humans could do and help automate those tasks. But I think some of the systems and processes in place, they have to be there. The workflows have to be there in order for the agents to be successful, and the integrations with all these softwares. So there's so much we could talk about, man.
So much. And not even the humans could do, right? Sometimes it's going to be things what these people used to do, including myself. So when 20, 30, 40% of work maybe that was used to be done in that manner and take a lot of time to do gets, for lack of better phrase, kind of taken off your plate, then what can we go focus on? I think that's the evolution of this. Like, where does that time get put, and how can we really maximize that time that we've been gifted and given if the right platforms and solutions are put in place that function, and all our time isn't taken up, trying to fix what we've put in place. I mean, if
Yeah.
these things do, in a lot of ways, we're seeing that some do. That what's the next evolution of this? If this goes where we all envision it going, where are people? Where's the next space we can put our time into? I think that's really where it's going to get interesting.
Yeah, totally is. And to that point, and I'm going to kind of close with hopefully you giving some gratitude to some people in your life. But I think when you start to take things away from individuals, like where do they focus their time is going to be interesting to see too, right? Like if something takes 50% of their day, and now I'm saying, hey, I'm going to automate this through an AI agent. You have 50% of your day free now. Like where are those people going to focus their time, and are they going to be more productive? It's really going to be an interesting next few years within tech. I'm looking forward to continuing to talk to you about all this, man. See you soon enough. But one thing I want to do to kind of finish off these episodes is give the people on it, an opportunity to, look back, personally, professionally, and say like, who is in your orbit today that you want to like give the props to. I mean, you gave some props to people in the dental space, like the Sarah Rubergs of the world, but is there anybody in mind you like to give a little gratitude towards that pops in your brain?
Yeah, are we talking, I mean, I kind of did that on the professional side of things. There's a lot of people that I'm currently working with, that within DCA that are amazing. So it probably too many to name. Really, like truly, some people working at some really, really high levels. It's been impressive to see, and then kind of name some people back throughout my history and evolution. On the personal side, no chance he'll watch this, especially not to this point. But it always starts with Dad. Had a great one. Somebody I try to emulate a lot in what I'm doing with my kids. So. Like I said, zero chance he'll watch this, so it's not lip service. But you got to get those values instilled from somewhere, and he was the man and still is the man in my life. So that's always number one.
Well, we'll clip it and just give you the clip, and he can just watch that part.
Yeah, let him know.
All right. Hey man, I appreciate you. Looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks here, and thanks so much for the time. Unless you got anything else you wanted to get out into the world?
No, I appreciate it, man. I really do. It's always great to be able to talk through some of this with somebody like yourself who's got an eye. I appreciate everything you're doing to help progress the industry forward, and your attention to detail on the areas that you have attention on. I think that's going to pay huge dividends, not just for you, but for all of us in this industry and this community as a whole. And, I look at us as to kind of take the baton and run with it in this industry. And I think with people like you at the helm that are taking that responsibility really seriously, we've got a chance to continue to mold this into the amazing industry that we all know it to be.
Awesome. Thanks, Clayton. I appreciate the kind words. And I think we got golf in our future together.
Yeah, I mean, we have to.
I think we should figure that out.
I need to wear this shirt actually on a golf course instead of wearing all my golf clothes on Teams calls.
Yeah, man. All right, man. I appreciate you.